Chairman, members of the Commission, my name is Senta Costello, Associate Planner for the City of Grand Junction Community Development Department. Tonight we have a request for a conditional use permit, also known as a CUP, for the property located at 2790 H Road, situated in an IO Industrial Office Zone District. The proposed CUP is to allow a hazardous occupancy for storage and use of hazardous materials related to manufacturing and processing of machinery components. This is a site vicinity map showing the subject property outlined in green, the total land area of approximately 9.95 acres. The immediate area surrounding the subject site comprises light industrial and warehousing types of uses, including facilities like Lightner Poma, FedEx, and Colorado Bureau of Investigation. This slide shows the current zoning in the area. As you can see, the site is situated in an IO Industrial Office Zone District, as are all the immediate adjacent properties with the exception of the airport properties to the east, which are PAD, Planned Airport Development. Indoor manufacturing is an allowed use by right within the IO Industrial Office Zone District. However, the manufacturing and processing portion of the applicant's operations utilize hazardous materials. Because of the types and quantities of hazardous material, an H occupancy classification is required under the International Fire Code and International Building Code. Per the Zoning and Development Code, all other industrial service, including any hazardous occupancy per the International Fire Code or International Building Code, is an allowed use in the IO Zone District with a conditional use permit, hence the reason for this proposal. This slide shows the site in the Comprehensive Future Land Use Map, which identifies this area as Business Park Mixed Use, Commercial Industrial, and Planned Airport Development, as well as the immediately surrounding area. This slide reflects the site plan of the proposal. There is a 68,281 square foot addition being constructed on the north end of the existing 71,728 square foot building and a 400 square foot storage building in the northwest corner of the property. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit to allow for storage and use of hazardous materials, manufacturing and processing of machinery components. The CUP request includes three pieces, including the hazardous occupancy for approximately 140,000 square feet, minimal outdoor storage adjacent the north end of the building, and hazardous occupancy for the storage building approximately 400 square feet. The review of a conditional use permit is subject to both the general approval criteria for all permits requiring a public hearing, as well as the specific review criteria for conditional use permits. These criteria are broken down and explained in greater detail in the staff report. Criteria on this slide refer to the general approval criteria. These include compliance with the comprehensive plan and any applicable adopted plan, compliance with the Zoning and Development Code, conditions of any prior approvals, public facilities and utilities shall be available concurrent with development, and receiving all applicable local, state, and federal permits. Staff finds that all these criteria have been met. We are recommending a condition of approval that the applicant shall be responsible for meeting all conditions as required by the Grand Junction Fire Department and Mesa County Building Department as applicable from the International Fire Code and International Building Code for the storage and use of hazardous materials prior to the Certificate of Occupancy approval. In addition, the Zoning and Development Code requires an application for a CUP demonstrate that the proposed development will comply with 4 criteria. This includes meeting of the Zone District standards. The IO Zone District has specific performance standards, including limiting the retail sale area to 10% of the gross floor area of the principal structure. There are also specific standards regarding vibration, smoke, odor, noise, glare, waste, fire hazards, and hazardous materials. And lastly, there are specific requirements for outdoor storage. All these criteria are outlined in greater detail in the staff report, and the applicant has presented that all district standards will be met with this proposal, and staff finds that this criterion has been met. The second criterion is specific use standards. The proposed use falls under the industrial manufacturing and production portion of the code. There are no use-specific standards for this use, and therefore staff finds this criterion has been met. The third criterion is availability of complementary uses. Staff finds this criterion has been met as the site is surrounded by several complementary light industrial businesses and uses and is in close proximity to several easy transportation corridors of I-70 and Horizon Drive. The fourth criterion is compatibility with adjoining properties, which includes the protection of privacy, protection of use and enjoyment, and compatible design integration. Manufacturing and production is an outright allowed use in the IO district. However, because of the quantity and types of materials to be stored and utilized on site, a hazardous occupancy classification is required. All storage of material will be contained within appropriate containers in the buildings, and staff has found that this criterion has been met. After reviewing the conditional use permit application for Jabil Lewis Engineering, CUP 2020-225, the following findings of fact have been made with the following condition of approval. In accordance with Section 21.02-080D of the Zoning and Development Code, the application has satisfied the criteria for general approval. In accordance with Section 21.02.110 of the Zoning and Development Code, the application has demonstrated compliance with the criteria for a conditional use permit. Condition of approval is the applicant shall be responsible for meeting all conditions as required by the Grand Junction Fire Department and Mesa County Building Department as applicable from the International Fire Code and International Building Code for the storage and use of the hazardous materials. This concludes my presentation.